In the dazzling world of entertainment, where truth is often hidden behind the spotlight, edited clips, and well-rehearsed smiles, there are stories that defy scripts and timelines. Stories that are never spoken, yet deeply felt. One of the most captivating and mysterious stories to this day is, when did Wang Yibo truly fall for Xiao Zhan? Was it all just fan service, a fleeting gesture for the cameras, or was there one undeniable moment when his heart quietly, but decisively, surrendered? Let's rewind to 2018. Back when two rising stars from completely different backgrounds were cast in what initially seemed like just another historical drama, The Untamed. No one could have guessed that this project wouldn't just catapult their careers, but also mark the beginning of something far more personal, something inexplicably powerful. Wang Yibo, famously reserved, guarded, and notoriously difficult to read. He didn't let people in easily. Even co-stars rarely breached the walls he built around himself. But Xiao Zhan came in like sunshine on a winter day, warm, gentle, full of laughter, and impossible to ignore. And slowly, even before either of them realized it, something shifted between them. It didn't happen during a dramatic embrace or scripted confession. It happened in the silence between lines. In the way Yibo began to look at Xiao Zhan. The way his eyes softened when Xiao Zhan smiled. How he unconsciously leaned a little closer, inch by inch, as if wanting to be near without even realizing why. Then, that moment happened. A moment that fans to this day believe was the turning point. The music scene, where Lan Wangji and Wei Wuxian sat together under the moonlight, playing their instruments in haunting harmony. But if you look closer, if you freeze that scene and really watch Yibo's face, something changed. He wasn't just acting. His gaze lingered a little too long. He lost focus, just for a second. Not because he forgot his lines, but because in that instant, he wasn't looking at a character. He was looking at Xiao Zhan. And in that gaze, he fell. That was not a scripted look. It was real. There was admiration, vulnerability,
and fear.
Admiration for the beautiful soul in front of him. Vulnerability, because he knew something in his heart had shifted. And fear that what he was starting to feel was far beyond anything he had ever anticipated. From that day, things were never the same. Yibo, who once rarely smiled, now found himself laughing more. He became more expressive. He began finding excuses to be near Xiao Zhan, even when the cameras weren't rolling. Behind the scenes, in dressing rooms, in offstage interactions, Wang Yibo was present. Not just physically, but emotionally. One unforgettable moment was during a promotional event. Xiao Zhan cracked a joke, teasing Yibo as he often did. Normally, Yibo would respond with a deadpan stare or a sarcastic reply. But that time, he smiled. A real, shy smile. He lowered his head, hiding the soft blush on his face. To the casual observer, it was nothing. But to those who were watching closely, it was everything. A sign. A signal that his guard had fallen. His feelings grew quietly, but powerfully. And when Xiao Zhan faced his darkest hours in 2020, caught in a scandal that nearly ruined his career, who didn't leave? Who stood still in silence while the world turned its back on Xiao Zhan? Wang Yibo. He didn't post dramatic messages. He didn't hold grand gestures of loyalty. But in subtle ways, in the words he carefully chose in interviews, in the expression on his face when Xiao Zhan's name was mentioned, he showed the world he never left. That is how Wang Yibo loves. Quietly.
Steadily.
Completely. In one interview, when asked about the best co-star he had ever worked with, Yibo paused. He smiled softly and said, "I can't forget him." He never said a name, but everyone knew. His eyes told the truth. Even today, when they are rarely seen in public together, the bond lingers. Fans still spot coincidences, matching captions, similar outfits, playlist choices that seem to speak to one another. Subtle echoes of something still alive. And who could forget the awards ceremony, where Xiao Zhan won a major accolade. Cameras caught Wang Yibo standing, clapping with a look of quiet pride. Then he sat back down as if nothing had happened. But in that brief gesture, there was a world of meaning. It was love in its purest form, silent support, unconditional and unwavering. Wang Yibo's love for Xiao Zhan was never born out of excitement or chaos. It grew in stillness. It took root deep within, and it has endured through time and distance. It is the kind of love that doesn't need to be spoken aloud, because its presence is unmistakable. And maybe that's why their story has captivated so many hearts. Because in a world where everything can be edited and polished to perfection, their connection feels raw.
Real.
Not always smooth. Not always ideal. But genuine. Wang Yibo didn't fall for Xiao Zhan because he was flawless. He fell for him because in his presence, he found peace. Even now, years later, there are moments that resurface. Small interactions. Fleeting expressions. Words that seem to carry secret messages. And fans, especially those who have been watching from the start, know. This wasn't just a phase. This wasn't just two actors promoting a show. This was the story of one soul quietly recognizing another. So, if you ask, when exactly did Wang Yibo fall in love with Xiao Zhan? The answer is not a specific date. It's not a timestamp. It's a moment. The moment he stopped seeing Xiao Zhan as a colleague and started seeing him as someone he wanted to protect, admire,
Cherish.
love. The most sincere love sometimes goes unsaid. But we can feel it from the way they stare at each other, support each other silently, and stay connected even when the world tries to keep them apart. Is Wang Yibo really in love with Xiao Zhan? Only they know the answer. But one thing is for sure, this story has touched millions of hearts, including those of us who believe that true love sometimes comes in silence. If you also feel the depth of their relationship, write in the comments. I believe there is love there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and activate the bell so you don't miss out on more emotional stories. See you in the next video, lovers of unspoken true stories.